starting tonight that you play them 3 of the next 5 games are against the Knicks in 11 days. Is it different to prepare, or is it almost like a mini playoff series where?
I don't think I even knew that we played them 3 times the next 5 days. You have to say that for between this game and the next time we play them, and then
okay. All right. Well, you do, so it's kind of an interesting kind of.
For right now, we're just preparing for that first game, and so yeah, I don't know that there's much of any thought into that.
Lessons from the first game though against them, or?
Well, I think I think they went through preseason playing at a great pace or with more pace, and I think they beat Milwaukee really badly the night before. So I think getting back in transition was important. Keeping Carmelo off the free throw line is always important. I think we're trying to play with more pace, and I think those things would be.
2 days off though, nice.
Yeah, as long as they come out and ready tonight, they're not still in a whatever lag.
Stan made the Pistons practice on Christmas Eve.
He did. He's a better coach.
Yeah.
There's a theory there that when you're home during the holidays, it's harder because guys are more around family and all that stuff. Do you think that's true over the course of your career?
I don't know. I definitely see the argument for it. Or I don't think it's a totally out of line. My early years in the NBA, I remember Utah going on these long road trips, and that was one of their theories, is they could go on the road and win games around the Christmas time. And I think if you hopefully have a mature group that can kind of do the family thing, and then when they're here, they're focused and ready to go. But I think there's a little bit of truth around that.
No other changes, anything else?
No.
How has Tim handled, his role? I mean, with the Knicks for 2 years, he was an integral part of everything. How have you seen him handle not really playing?
Yeah, no, he's been very good. I'm very impressed and very pleased with his work, kind of behind the scenes that nobody sees, and working on, in the weight room, conditioning, shooting, just everything. I can just promise you he's doing well, and he's in a good place. And then a lot of it has been his approach to it. He's been very professional and understands. I think there's a real emphasis on player development with us, and we've seen guys that have maybe come in and not started out gangbusters, and through work and time and effort, they find a way. And I would say he's following that path in a very good way.
I mean, you obviously saw something in him to give up a first-round pick. What do you need him to do more of? This is a solid club. Obviously, he comes to a very solid team. But what do you need more of from him to get more?
Well, I think, as you mentioned, I think we're trying to be a good team, and I think sometimes I think there's some guys that he's competing with that are also playing well. And Lamar Patterson's a young guy that's getting the minutes now, and Justin Holiday's another guy that's trying to bust out. And all 3 of those guys, it's I don't think it's so much about what they're not doing. As a coach, you have to make some hard choices, and I think they're all fighting for minutes, fighting for opportunities, and in a lot of ways they're very similar. And right now, Lamar's getting the opportunities, and those things can always change.
Al Horford shooting more threes this year than ever before. Is that something you encouraged when you got to camp, and why?
Yeah, I would actually say we've been encouraging it since we arrived, whatever that was, 2.5 summers ago or 2.5 years ago. And I think he's just, I think getting more and more comfortable doing it, more and more confident doing it. If he misses one or has a bad game, he's going to come back the next game and he's still going to shoot those shots. I think it creates great spacing for us, great opportunities for us, and we don't want him to just do that. But I think the rate at which he's shooting them and the open opportunities is something that we feel good about.
And what kind of pressure does that put on the other team defensively when he's out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of defensive fives that's probably not their comfort zone, or it's obviously pulling them away from protecting the rim and protecting the paint. And, Hopefully it's putting them in spots they're maybe not comfortable or used to, and putting their whole defense in spots that they're not comfortable or used to.
Coach, what is the advantage to having so much balance amongst your starters in the sense that all of your guys are in double figures, but no one's over 18 points? Like, have you seen that pressure opposing defenses specifically lately?
Well, hopefully, that there's not one guy that you're just going to maybe feel like if you take him out, then you've whatever solved the defense or the offense or whatever it may be. And so you got different guys that can step up every night. I think the whole locker room feels confident and comfortable. From our perspective, it could be a different guy. And so when you're preparing for us, I don't know, I'm not in those guys' shoes, but it's just they got to be probably prepared for more of a team concept, more of it could be anybody on any night.
And you've seen, though, over the years where you've had other teams that have had more of a superstar versus, this balance that you've seen. Is it something that you like? I mean, as a coach, what do you enjoy about coaching?
No, I mean, it's, not to get too philosophical. I think it's how the game was meant to be played. I think it's beautiful when all five guys participate, all five guys feel like they can make a play or make a shot. And I think, whether it be in the regular season or the playoffs, it's harder to prepare for, it's harder to game plan for. And, the more good players you have, then, that's I think what makes teams hard to guard.
And the luxury of having 2 point guards like you have obviously puts pressure on teams. Is that kind of the way of the NBA these days? You need to have 2 guys that can break down defenses and keep the pressure on?
Well, I think, we're fortunate to have 2 good point guards. I think the more you have guys that can maybe get to the paint and break defenses down, the better. And it seems like it was going that way for, I don't know, I actually feel like this season, we're only 30 games in. I don't feel like I see it quite as much as we were a year or 2 ago. But with us, we don't play them together a lot, but to have one come in after another and keep the pressure on the defense, it's a real, it's an advantage for us, we feel like.